What's up, guys? So today's episode of Tattoo Table Talk, I'm going to be sitting down with my friend Michael DiMartini. He's been a client of mine for a couple years, and I've watched his evolution as a college baseball player. He's gone through some crazy trials and tribulations, but he's a big guy on faith and hard work, and really admire this young man. So I'm excited to have this conversation today. Let's get it. So, we're gonna do a little icebreaker.
Yeah.
When was the first time you thought about getting a tattoo?
Yeah, it's a good question. So, growing up, like, no one in my life ever really had tattoos. I remember my late uncle, he had some tattoos, and that was always kind of like a taboo thing for me in my head. I was like, oh, he's got tattoos. Like, as a kid, you don't really know any better.
He must do drugs.
Yeah. You don't know, and then you really like the way it looks, but I'm a kid, so I don't really have an opinion on it yet.
Of course.
But as I got older, I kind of as I got definitely more into my faith, I kind of started to realize what I would want if I got a tattoo. And everyone kind of as a thought experiment is like, oh, if you got a tattoo, what would you get? And obviously being named after Saint Michael, that's always what my answer was. Oh, I'd get St. Michael. So, for a while I kind of entertained the idea of like, oh, like that would be really cool. That would look sick. And then, you get into the gym a little bit more and you want to look a little tougher and whatever it ends up being. And I just really thought it would fit my aesthetic. So kind of, after my freshman year of college, I was like, you know what? It's something that I really want to do. Some of my friends had them in college and, just pulled the trigger on it, and my dad gave me the go-ahead and, moved on it. So.
And that's it. So for the record, guys, the first tattoo I did, Michael's first tattoo, I was able to do, which was very cool. It's a St. Michael, which I'll show you on the outside of the arm. And we've been working on his sleeve for two years?
Yeah, about
year and a half?
Year and a half, yeah.
Just progressing along, in a nice pace.
At a piece, every time I'm home from college or whatever, so.
Sure. So,
taking my time on it.
So that was the inspiration. Obviously, your name's Michael, St. Michael.
Yep.
Tell me a little bit about like where you grew up. You're from Pittsburgh, right?
So I'm from Pittsburgh, obviously where we are right now. Got a big Italian family similar to Mark, and I guess we get along in that way. I grew up in Pittsburgh, kind of a tough Italian family. Big family, really close, loyal to each other. So that's kind of the values I like to carry with me every day.
And you're the oldest, right?
Second oldest.
Second oldest.
Older sister,
okay.
Yeah.
Right on.
I have 3 siblings and big family for sure.
Cool, man.
We're all really close and sometimes too close. So.
Dude, it's an Italian family thing, man. Right? I don't know what it is. It's like when you meet a fellow Italian American, right?
Yeah,
like,
Italian American.
Italian American. Let's make that distinction.
Italian
American. It is something about it, man. Like we're emotional. We don't really hide our feelings to each other. Like I'm the youngest of 6 kids, and if we got beef, it's out in the open, man.
It's not a very stoic family.
It's
as much as I want to be.
Sure. Okay, so grew up in Pittsburgh, and you played baseball all your life, right?
Yes, sir. Yep.
And so, I guess a question for you would be, when did you realize? I know a lot of kids like myself. Whenever I was a kid, I was like, man, I want to be a linebacker in the NFL. Yeah. Like, okay, I'm 5'9". Like, it's probably not gonna happen, But when did you realize in your baseball journey, like, hey, I'm pretty good at this, and I think if I really work hard, I have a shot to try to pursue baseball at the next level past high school?
Yeah, so growing up, I was definitely a solid player. There's a decent amount of talent in the area, Western PA, where we are. I had a lot of good people around me and a lot of good support. Obviously, my father played a huge role in getting me into the game and letting me enjoy it and getting me really passionate about something at a young age, which I think a lot of kids need. Is something to really put their head to, no matter what it is, whether it's a sport, another passion, something like that. And if I'm stuttering, it's because I'm getting my bicep tattooed now.
Listen, this is going to be the fun
usually,
part about this journey,
yeah.
guys. We're going to get to see the raw experience. I'm distracting him, right? But he's still getting his bicep tattooed. So, listen, this is a test run, man. You can't do anything wrong.
Exactly. So I actually had a really influential travel coach who actually just recently passed away.
Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, he was a really big influence earlier in my career. And I remember a conversation I had with him vividly, and I've played it back in my head as of recently, when you reminisce on someone in their life.
Sure.
And I was in a hotel lobby. I was about 11 or 12 years old, and I had never thought about playing college or playing pro. It was always a dream. Like, I wanted to do it. Mm-hmm. I didn't know it could be a reality, though. I was a little bit smaller. Didn't really have I just didn't really have the vision that, I didn't know how to turn it into a reality.
And also, you probably didn't have you didn't have anybody in your family that are like NFL, right?
No, we had no one that played in any professional or even college for that matter. So it wasn't like a thing. It wasn't something I saw all the time either.
Sure. So anyways.
It was just kind of a dream, and then you start to be able to all right, how can I start to make this reality? How can I start to make it practical? And, he sat down and he was talking to me one day, and I'm young, I'm 12 years old, and I remember the conversation, and he said, I don't just think you're good enough to play in college, Michael. And I had never had someone tell me that. He said, I think you're good enough to play professionally.
Wow. And how old were you at this time?
I was probably 12 years old.
Wow.
And I had never had someone say something that convicting to me. And he told me, he's like, your dad's not going to want me to tell you this because he doesn't want me to inflate your ego or anything like that. But I really think that, this is a real thing for you. And, from that point on, I was like, okay, wait, maybe this could actually happen, I put so much time into the game as a young kid, and I was glad that I was obsessed with baseball, like I still am, absolutely obsessed with it. Any free second I had was going into the game and getting better at it. And then, after I started to realize that it could be a reality, things started to really take off. And then, obviously, COVID hit in 2020, and that's when, for me, COVID was a very tough time, and there were a lot of terrible things that happened. Obviously, don't need to get into that, but
sure.
For me, I found a lot of transformation in that period where you're isolated, you're alone.
Were you in high school at that time?
I was in high school. It was my freshman year. I was 15, so fast forward a few years, and I found a lot of transformation in that time, and I really kind of carved out a vision of what I wanted to do with my life. From a young age, which I'm very blessed to kind of have that revelation. God kind of given me that. That direction.
Sure.
And so I kind of just said to myself, I remember being in my basement working out at home when you couldn't go into a gym. I was like, I'm not working just to get bigger or stronger. I'm working towards this goal. So everything I did was very intentional. And that's kind of, maybe 15 years old was the time where I knew that this could be a reality. This isn't just some dream that some kid in Pittsburgh has. This could be a reality.
Wow.
And that happened for some of my other friends that ended up, and they're still really successful, in the sport. So,
dude, that's a crazy story.
Yeah.
And I gotta say too, how important it is to have someone from a place of authority that you respect tell you something.
Oh yeah.
How that can really transform in a young person's mind into believing what, maybe I can do this,
yeah,
right?
I'm sitting here almost 10 years later, and I remember the conversation, and
wow.
Having people that believe in you is as important as believing in yourself. Surrounding yourself with the people that believe in you that's something I've advocated for a lot of maybe younger kids or other athletes trying to do the same thing. Is just surround yourself with people that believe in you and stay distant from those that don't.
Sure. And man, what a hard quote. that's a good one. I like that.
I'm glad I could drop some knowledge earlier.
Dropping knowledge.
Yeah.
So for the audience, I also I've tattooed Michael for a little while now, and I also tattoo his father. So how has your family played a role in supporting you? We're going to get into all of your kind of journey through college, but how have they supported you in that dream from a young age? Like,
Yeah, without my family, especially my dad, there is nothing I couldn't have done or gotten this far or continue to do anything. It's been like, anything I needed, whether it was, someone to just throw me batting practice, someone to play catch with, or, equipment, anything. Like, it wasn't even a question with my dad. He would have done anything, He would always say, I'll sell the house before, I make you stop doing what you love. And like,
Wow.
that means a lot. Like,
of course.
he would seriously, he did anything I needed, like, any hour of the day, he worked until fucking, sorry for swearing. He worked,
yeah, you're good, buddy.
Worked, yeah. He worked for, I didn't know that jobs ended at 5 p.m. as a kid. I thought they ended at 8 p.m. because my dad was coming home at 8 or 9
Yes.
every night. And
Yeah.
I didn't know what a 9 to 5 was because my dad didn't work at 9
Didn't
to 5.
do that.
He worked an 8 to 8, or whatever you want to call it.
Sure.
So, even after, a long week, any Saturday I went, like, let's go play catch, let's go to the field, let's go do this. And, and there were days that I didn't want to do it, and he'd be like, Michael, let's go, we're going to the field. And I'm like,
Wow.
Dad, I want to, I want to play video games, I want to do this. But if it weren't for those moments where he pushed me, I wouldn't be half the player I am. And I also have a very supportive mother who kind of, just didn't get too involved, didn't give my dad a hard time with, being
Sure.
tough on me, which, a lot of parents might, they might step in and stop something or make it about themselves. And my mom just really, she just let it happen, and she was so
Wow.
gracious in that way. And, obviously have some great siblings, my younger brother and my 2 sisters that just, continue to support me and care about me, whether, my sisters still don't know anything about baseball.
Yeah.
And they, they're like, oh, I saw you hit a home run today, I'm happy for you.
Good job, buddy.
That's all I need is just,
Sure.
just some, maybe, a little acknowledgement from them that, they're following along.
Of course.
So.
Yeah, and I gotta say, guys like your dad, Jason. Shout out Jason. Man. Such a cool guy, man. Like, genuinely, there are times when I meet somebody in life and I'm like, man, that's kind of like a little bit of a snapshot of what I'd like to be in my future, and I really do feel like that about your father. And also, one thing that's impressive is I think I work a lot, and it's easy for me to get off work, go home, and be an absolute vegetable. Like, I give my whole heart and soul. So to hear that, like, he was still holding up that balancing act of, I'm gonna bust ass at work, but I'm still gonna be a good father, like present father. Like, that's everything, man. That's so admirable,
It was, it's something I took for granted as a kid, but I definitely don't take for granted now. You don't realize how, what your parents go through when you're young. You just don't see it. You don't know.
Sure.
And then when you get a little older and you realize, maybe even you start doing it a little bit. At school we work long days. We go through a lot of stuff, and by the end of the day, I'm like, I don't know how I can go home and, put on a good face for someone.
Oh, man.
It's just, so.
It's impressive, right?
It's very impressive. It's admirable, and I hope I could do that when I'm older.
Of course. And so, you had this vision kind of built up in your head. You had this goal, you had somebody confirm a belief in, you being able to play at a higher level. What was your process transitioning from, like, your senior year, say, in high school, or when did you know, like, hey, I'm going to sign to ultimately Penn State?
Yeah.
Like, how was that?
Yeah, so it actually happened pretty quick because baseball's a weird sport. I know a lot of people aren't going to know the way it operates.
Yeah, talk about it in layman's terms.
Yeah,
like,
I barely know either, but so you kind of commit to a school verbally from a, kind of, if you're more of a highly touted recruit, it could be your freshman year of high school.
Okay.
At least at the time I was getting recruited. And then, if you're kind of a, maybe an upper middle guy, you're going maybe your sophomore, junior year, making decisions. And then maybe if you're a little bit of a late bloomer, your senior year.
Okay.
So I actually made my decision my sophomore summer.
Okay.
And that was a weird process in its own because, again, there was still some doubt that was there as a kid where it's like, okay, I know I could play college baseball, but like, there's so many colleges out there.
And you're 16 years old.
And yeah, I'm so young. It's like, I don't know where I want to go. So my thought was, my mom went to Penn State. My sister goes there or just graduated from there.
Sure.
My younger sister is probably going there as well. I have cousins. We're a Penn State family, so I was like, all right, I'm going to go try to play college baseball. If I can't do it, I'm just going to go to Penn State and be a student. So that was always what I thought. It's like,
Sure.
you know, and then my sophomore summer, going into my sophomore year of high school, like, you know, I did pretty well, and really quickly I started talking to Penn State, and I was like, wait a second, I could play baseball there. Like I could do both dreams that I wanted to do.
Wow.
So I'm like, this is perfect.
Yeah.
So I worked hard. I did really well in the event and caught the eyes of them and some other schools.
Was that like at a tournament or something?
Yeah, just like a showcase event kind of thing. Baseball is big on showcases and
Is that like a combine?
Yeah, kind of something like that, where you do, you run, you play, you go around, you play a few games, you show them what you got, and they must have enjoyed, what they saw, and they presented me with a very nice scholarship offer that, fit my needs, and I said yes to it immediately because
that's so crazy. You're so young. You're in 10th grade, man.
I was 16 years old, and
wow.
I'm like negotiating a scholarship with a guy that's 20 years older than me.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I got the offer. I was freaking screaming through my house.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, I'm like, I told my mom. She was freaking out. I called my dad, and then I called my travel coach at the time who helped me get there. And
was this the same guy that gave you the piece of advice?
A different guy,
different coach?
Who helped me get involved with recruiting and stuff.
Okay.
So very thankful that I had him, and I was like, I'm gonna commit to this. I need to get. This is what I want to do. I'm doing it. And they were like, yeah, do it, man. It's a great decision. So I ended up committing there the same day I got the offer. Literally the same day. So,
wow. Quick turnaround.
It was a quick turnaround. So then, I'm committed for a few years, and then I'm getting ready to go to college, and some things happened and kind of straight off course, which maybe we'll get into later. But
sure. And so, let me ask you this: as a 16-year-old, I know for myself, if I was given any type of praise at 16, I would have been like, I am actually the shit. I am the coolest person. Nobody can top me. It probably would have been a little bit detrimental to my development. Did you experience a little bit of like of an ego thing at that time, or were you able to stay grounded? And how did you do that?
I think without being too hard on myself or too easy on myself, there were definitely some things that came with that. Obviously, like having any kind of status at that age, like kind of automatically makes you a little bit like you're viewed a little differently, because obviously high school is such a weird dynamic. And any kind of status that you have really puts you ahead of a lot of other people, kind of on the social pecking order.
Did you notice it in school? Like, were kids like, yo, Michael, like you're a beast?
Or a little bit, but I wasn't a guy that was really involved, like on the social. I wasn't a very social guy. Like I had a very tight-knit group of friends, and I hung out with them, and I didn't do anything where I was caught in the social eye.
Sure.
I just didn't care.
You didn't care about that?
Yeah, which to give a little credit to myself, I really just did not care. So internally, there were times where I'm like, all right, Michael, you need to,
tone it down.
Yeah, you're not invincible. There's stuff. And you naturally get humbled. Stuff happens in your life that naturally humbles you. Some chick breaks up with you, or something happens where it naturally humbles you. You crash your car or something like that. Where you get back down to reality. And there was definitely some of that, but most of it was internal.
Okay.
And I think my peers would have said the same thing, that I didn't really come across as some guy that was, super egotistical. However, I am naturally a very confident person, and I do kind of portray that confidence. So, maybe that was taken in an egotistical way, but really, it's not. No, it's not anything where I think it's harmful to others. So.
Sure. Yeah.
But there's definitely a weird dynamic that comes with that, and especially now, I was a baseball player. With these guys that are playing football and are going to these other big schools as well. There's a lot of expectation and a lot of kind of status that comes with that, and I could see why why a young kid would fall into kind of a weirder path or a
Snap
trap.
under the pressure or something.
Yeah, I totally understand it. It's a lot, and you gotta remember, like, they're still kids,
Yeah.
especially when they're in high school. In college, you're an adult, so you're treated differently. But in high school, you gotta take it easy on some of these kids,
For sure. So you committed your sophomore year. You kind of had that in mind. Was there anything else really notable in your high school career that was like, a high or a low point for you?
Yeah, so I had some really good success my junior year after committing and after kind of settling down on a school and not having to worry about that. I had a lot of really good season. I had a really good season. I had a lot of success, and got to break some cool high school records. That
Oh, nice.
I couldn't even tell you what they mean now. I couldn't even tell you which one. It doesn't matter. But
That's sick. No, that's sick.
did some cool stuff like that. I got to play with some great friends, and we didn't really win anything or like win a state championship or nothing like that, but just had some good success and really enjoyed my time my junior year. And then going into my freshman year of college after my senior year is kind of where I started to run into some more problems. So that kind of, I guess, relays us into the next part of the conversation, is kind of the college aspect of and how I got to where I'm at now.
So give me the tea, man. What's the take on like your Penn State experience?
Yeah.
Put me in the eyes of Mike DiMartini, freshman year, Penn State.
Yeah, so, going into my freshman year, I'm about to leave, I'm excited. We report in the summer and do some summer school and some summer training, and about to leave. It's late May, and I see something on Twitter, of course. That's how you find out nowadays, and I find out that my whole coaching staff for Penn State got fired or resigned or whatever happened.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, oh gosh, like, what do I do now? I leave in 3 weeks or a month, like not even a month. I'm like, what do I do? Like, do I go to school? Do I, so there's a lot of ambiguity there that you just kind of have to deal with. And ultimately, everyone in my class made the same decision, and that was to go to school and just wait for a new staff to get hired. And, we show up in the summer, we're doing our summer workouts, we're having a good time up at school, and we still don't have a coaching staff. And we're waiting for weeks and weeks and waiting to hear who it is. And we finally get, word on who it's going to be. And, a new staff gets hired, and we don't know any of these guys. And I guess neither did anyone else. But, in college baseball or really any college sport nowadays, if a coaching staff changes, the whole team changes, right? New transfers, new signings,
So explain to me how that works, because you were recruited by the coaches that left, right?
Yeah, so the only promise I had was that I could keep my scholarship, and then you don't know if they want you on the team or not. So basically the whole fall is like a tryout, right? So we get there, we go back home for a week in the summer after we hear who the staff is, and we go back for the fall semester when everyone else gets there. And basically the fall is just an absolute bloodbath of like everyone's trying to earn a spot. It's a bloodbath.
Because these guys don't know much about you,
they
right?
don't know anything. They don't know anything. They know about some of the returners that maybe have done really well or had some success, but they don't know anything about some freshman, kid coming out of Pittsburgh like they've never heard of.
Yeah.
And or at least hadn't heard of in the past 3 years. And there's just there was a lot of ambiguity there, and had to kind of duke it out in the fall and in the spring to get ready for the season and hopefully earn a job.
Man. And that's got to be stressful too, because you're dealing with the new dynamic of you're at a school, 50,000 kids. Yeah. It's already an overwhelming place.
Yeah,
right?
Going into college for anyone is a tough experience. I totally understand why. Change of scenery, change of people, different schedule, and then parlaying that with the baseball aspect and
performing.
Performing. And thankfully, I did very well, and I did a very good job. And
your freshman season?
My freshman fall, into my freshman season. So the fall, the way baseball works, you kind of have a fall season, which is you do scrimmages against your own team.
Is that called like fall ball?
They call it fall ball, yeah.
Okay.
So it's not, doesn't count towards anything, but it's for the coaches to get a good picture on what they got, and you can practice and get better. And
Sure.
I did really well, and I thought, I did as good as I could have. And I worked really hard and kept on track. Obviously still had fun in college. Like you're learning new things, you're going to new games, football games and basketball games and whatever. But, worked hard and had a good group of guys around me up there that I kind of worked with, and did a really good job. And then, going into that season, thought I had a job. The coach tells me, you're gonna be a really good player for us. You're gonna play a ton. You're gonna have a huge impact on the team. And then ultimately didn't play at all, and didn't ever get an opportunity really to show what I had. So
wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of tough for me.
Let me ask you this, like, I think of my only frame of reference is like high school sports. If you make the varsity team as a freshman or a sophomore, you're probably a standout if you're playing.
Yeah.
So was part of you like, hey man, this is normal. I'm a freshman.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be playing yet.
So I'm a very, I don't know how to say this. I'm very, in a way I'm stubborn, where like I need to be doing something. So when I wasn't playing, I was kind of losing my mind a little bit. I was still a very good teammate. I was building my teammates up, making sure they were having a good time and they were enjoying it. And then also trying to learn as much as I could about the game and just watching what was going on, learning, But
you're like me. You're a hustler. You're a busybody, right?
I wanted to play. I felt like an imposter.
You're not there to just sit on this. Yeah.
I feel like an imposter, like I'm wearing a costume and not a uniform.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Cool.
And I'm one thing, at least about myself, is like that's something is my identity is strong, and when I start to lose my identity, that's not a good spot for me in my life, and that's kind of where I start to fall off the rails a little bit or
slip up.
And it didn't come with. It wasn't the fact that I wasn't playing. It was the fact that I was kind of told that I was, and then it just never happened. You know what I mean?
Empty promises,
I was super amped up. I was like, at least if I had been, if they were more upfront, I'd be like, okay, I expected this. It's normal. Your freshman year, you're not really going to play much. But I was told all this stuff, and I did as good as I could have done, and it just all kind of fell through based on, empty promises, I guess is the best way to put it.
So yeah, that's so tough, man. I can relate in a similar way my journey into tattooing.
Yeah.
I had this apprenticeship, right? And the artists were stellar, and I have nothing bad to say about them. Fantastic experience, but similarly, like, they were kind of famous artists, and they were like, hey, like, we want you to be our apprentice. I did it for like 6 months, and I had planned on pursuing that and learning from them and eventually working at their shop. And then about 6 months in, they just kind of, they cut me, if you will.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't really give me much of a reason. They just said they were too busy. And that was like the worst, because in my head I built up this I built up this expectation that I was going to work at this prestigious shop with these incredible artists.
Well, you see your potential and you see what could have been, and then you get it's such a low, you know what I mean? When you didn't get it.
So okay, you had, coming out of your freshman season, what was going through your head?
1,000 things. Definitely was a little frantic, but at the end of the year, I was like, man, I'm excited to come back here in the next year and earn a spot. I'm going to work hard again. I'm going to refine everything I got to do. But I'm excited to come back. I like the school. I like the team I'm around. I trust myself, and I trust, some people that were there. And that was kind of my mindset. And then, at the end of every season, you have a meeting with your coaches, and they kind of give you the lay of the land for the next the next year, what you need to work on over the summer.
Okay.
And they basically told me that, like, hey, we don't want you back. We don't want you to come back. We don't think you're good enough to play here.
No way, bro.
Yeah. So they were like, yeah, we just don't see a spot for you ever. We don't ever see you playing on this team.
Oh,
and I was like, wow, that's not what I thought was going to happen. You go in February, I'm getting told that I'm going to be a good player as a freshman. I'm going to help the team a lot, get a lot of at-bats, and really impact the team. And then 4 months later, not even 3 months later, and I'm you know, kick rocks.
Kick to the
dude.
curb.
Yeah, kick rocks, dude.
Did they give you any insight into like where that came from?
No, nothing.
That's so
they just
strange.
said, you know, we're bringing in guys that, you know,
Newer recruits or something
we're
like that?
bringing better players than you. And I was like, okay, well, you know, I got told at my position they were bringing in a guy that was going to be an All-American, or they had a guy returning that was going to be an All-American. I was like, that's cool. You know, I think I could do that too, probably, but you know, they didn't see it. So.
They didn't see it. Wow. Okay. So in your head, what are you thinking?
I mean, to be honest, I'm distraught. You know, like I'm like, oh gosh, what do I do now? My dream of playing here is done. You know, there's no way I could play here. It's just not happening. So, I'm driving. First of all, I'm driving home 2 hours with my mom, who picked me up.
Okay.
And I'm freaking beside myself. You know,
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't even know if we said a word to each other the whole ride. I was just quiet.
In your head.
Yeah, and I told my mom what happened, and she knew not to ask me about it. She was really upset. I called my roommate, and he had the same thing told to him.
No way, from Penn State.
Yep, and we're
Wow.
both on the phone, like, kind of just like, dude, what do we do? And, you know, I called my dad, and that was one of the first times where my dad just didn't even have an answer for me, where he was like, I don't know what you do. Like, just come home, and we're gonna figure it out. But I remember like calling him, and he's like, you know, I don't know. You know, I don't know.
Wow. So unexpected, right?
So unexpected.
Was this the end of this was going into summer?
Going into the summer, yep.
Wow,
After my
man.
freshman year. So it was a wake-up call, you know, that things can be taken from you very quickly, and anything can happen. So yeah, I was really in a loss for what to do, kind of in a panic. Yeah, I just didn't know where to go from there.
So they say, you know, the story. Everybody knows the story that apparently Michael Jordan was cut from
UNC
from his
college team.
some college team, right? Did you feel like, hey, I'm gonna show these guys, or did you really genuinely have some doubt? Like, I don't know if I can hang.
Yeah, no, it was definitely the second one where I had a lot of doubt, and you know, I had to go play somewhere in the summer to kind of just, you know, you go in baseball, you go play every summer, you go play somewhere to get better and refine your skills and
Sure.
just stay busy. And so I'm headed to go play in the summer league, and
Where's the summer league?
it's in the middle of nowhere. I'm in the middle of nowhere in Illinois. Thankfully, I had an awesome family I was staying with.
Okay.
Some family was gracious enough to host me, and they were absolutely phenomenal people who ended up giving me a lot of advice.
Okay.
And I'm in the middle of nowhere with no one I know, trying to figure out what I'm going to do for the rest, you know, pretty much the rest of my college experience. And I'm alone. And like, you just don't know, you don't know what to do.
You don't have that family.
You don't have,
Like, you have your host family, but you don't have your real
and
blood.
for the first few weeks I'm there, like, you're still like not comfortable with the family. You haven't gotten,
Yep.
you know, too in depth with them. And yeah, you don't know what to do. So there was a lot of doubt creeping in, and you know, I went to my league and I started playing really well in the league, and you know, I'm doing what I could, and you know, was doing well, and then, you know, doubt started to creep in even more, and it was getting later in the summer, and I started to struggle a little bit.
Did they have recruits coming? Like, what was your pipeline of like your thought? Like, okay, they'll have people watching me to get an offer from another school.
Yeah. So at the time, I wasn't even in what they call the transfer portal yet, because I was debating on going back to Penn State and just being a Joe Schmo there.
Wow, just being
Yeah.
No way. Okay.
And I probably would have done some other stuff there. Probably would have gotten into a club sport, maybe, like I was talking to you in the past. I like to big into boxing and stuff like
this
that.
guy,
So,
don't mess with this guy.
kick your legs out from under you. Muay Thai.
So keep going. So you were like,
so I was like, I'm gonna go back and maybe just join the club boxing team, do something like that, keep busy. And then, you know, I'm playing all summer, and I'm like, I don't know. I like the game. I love playing baseball. My
you're good.
hands,
Yeah, you can. Yeah, it's gonna.
Yeah,
honestly, bro, the
numb.
more you let it go numb,
Let it go numb.
the better. It's gonna feel strange as
Yeah.
hell, but it's gonna help.
Just let it happen.
Just let it happen. Keep distracting yourself.
Yeah, dude, this is actually helping.
It's clutch, yeah?
Yeah. So, I'm going, so I'm playing, and I still really love the game. And one night I'm playing a game, and it's we're in like somewhere in Indiana, and I get out of the game, and my phone has like 1,000 messages on it. And to give context behind what's about to happen is that I had a coach at Penn State, an assistant coach that I was like, me and him were like boys,
Okay.
Like, he hit with me every day. Like, we took batting practice. He practiced with me every second of the day that I needed him to. He was always, giving me confidence, telling me, hey man, like, you're going to be really good. Like, I believe in, all this stuff. Like, always keeping me on track. And that was pretty much the only source of that I had that year was him, right? And I'm
like your coach as a kid, man.
Yeah,
he gave you a little bit of
exactly. And I'm a freshman nobody, and this guy is meeting with me at 7 a.m. or after practice when he has 4 kids and a wife, and he could be doing better things, and he's meeting with freshman nobody Michael, and like taking some swings with me and training with me for hours, and
wow,
doing all this stuff that he totally, he's not getting paid to do this. I'm coming to him and asking him, hey man, I need some help with this, and he's like, let's do it. There was never a question. And if he couldn't make it, he's like, all right, let's find another time we could do it. You know what I mean? It was never like, he never dodged me or ducked me, and just was always there for me. And that was like,
it's validating.
Yeah. And so I'm going back to what I was saying, I get out of this game and my phone has 1,000 messages on it. And I get a call from I didn't even get time to read them. I get a call from my roommate, and he said, yo. I'm like, what is going on? He's like, that coach just left, and he's leaving Penn State, and he's taking a different job. And I'm like, what? Like, he's taking a different job? And my roommate's like, yeah, he's going to University of Dayton in Ohio. I'm like, wow, like what? Like, we're both kind of like, we're not sure what we're going to do. And he's like, you want to do this? And I go, what do you mean you want to do this? Like, you want to go to this school together?
This was your roommate,
my roommate,
who was also like kind of
same
cut
boat
from
as
the.
me.
Wow.
Yeah, more.
First of all, what a blessing that you had
Oh
somebody
my
to
gosh.
commiserate with.
Yeah, we were joined in our own freaking misery and pain and whatever. And
So you guys are like scheming.
yeah, and he's like, dude, you want to do this? I'm like, hell yeah, let's do it. And so I, without getting into, there's different kind of rules and stuff, but
Of course.
my coach calls me and he tells me, he's like, hey man, I'm going to.
Did you reach out to him first, or he was like?
I reached out to him and I was like, or I texted him, I said, hey man, like, I saw some news, I'm really happy for you. And he's like, yeah, like, I wish I could call you and tell you first, but there's some, there's rules behind it. I don't want to violate the rules. And
Sure.
I'm like, yeah, I totally get it. And then, we had, I think that night we're ended up able to get on the phone, and I was just like, hey man, like, I'm really happy for you. And he's like, yeah, like, I'm just, it sucks to leave you behind, because at the time I wasn't in the portal, and I was like, I get off the phone with him, and I'm like, he's going to be pretty surprised when he sees that I'm transferring on Monday whenever it opens up.
So how does that work? The transfer portal, like?
Yeah, we can't. I couldn't talk with him about it because it would be a violation of the rules. So.
Oh wow! So you can't be like, hey man, I'm gonna come.
No, I couldn't even.
No
do that.
way!
So
That's so crazy.
Yeah, and I just wanted to keep it as clean as I could. So.
This guy's by the book.
Keep it by the book, and then.
That's good.
Yeah, so on Monday, I call him and I said, hey, I just entered the portal.
Was he like, no way?
And he was like, are you serious? I was like, yeah, you're coming to Dayton then, right? And I was like, yeah, if you can like help me afford it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So a few weeks went by and we're trying to get some finances screwed out because
Sure.
Dayton is a private school and it is $65,000 a year.
Damn.
And that's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. That's a chunk of change, brother.
And I don't know if I want to pay that. So, so we're ironing out finances. And at the same time, I'm trying to get recruited by some other schools to have some backup plans
In case it doesn't work out.
Well, no school wants me, pretty much.
And this is still summer league?
Yeah, this is summer league. I mean, some guys came to watch me play, whether I did good or bad or indifferent. None of them ended up giving me an offer or wanting me. Some smaller D2 schools were interested, but I wasn't too interested in pursuing that opportunity.
Sure.
Because it was either, I'm going to go to Dayton or I'm going to figure something else out. But so long story short, every other, Division I opportunity just fell through and they didn't want me. And, by the grace of God, he was able to figure out some finances that made it work for me and my family, and, committed the same day I visited. I didn't even, I come up to check out Dayton, and we're in his office, and I didn't even know I was going to commit. And he's like, "Hey, man, like, you want to you want to commit?" And I was like, I literally said to him, I said, "Yeah, sure." And that was it. It wasn't even like, "Yeah, let's do it." I was like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" Right? So
you kind of already had your mind made up, right? Like if it was going to work out, you were just.
I had no other choice. So like when you're left with no other choice, you have to find a way to make it work. It's a skill. So a skill that I think like something that I've kind of found my identity in is like my ability to kind of navigate the unknown. Navigating ambiguity.
Resilience.
Yeah, like when you don't know what's going to happen. Can you still operate at a high level? Can you still do everything can you still be the same person? Can you still be a good person? Can you still get your job done, get what you need to get done? And
sure.
When you have no other choice, there's a lot of unknown. So I'm like, you know what? Yeah, we're doing it and we're going to figure it out. So that was the decision that brought me there. And that was kind of a long-winded answer to that.
No, dude, I mean, you needed the backstory. Yeah. So you're at Dayton. I mean, I know how everything turned out.
Yeah.
But people that don't follow your career.
Yeah. Totally.
How did it go, man? What was your experience at Dayton?
Yeah. So I got there in the fall, and first day we get there, it's boots to the ground. Like we're getting after it. We're working hard. My coach is as relentless as they come with working hard. Like anytime I needed anything, he's like, "Let's get to work. Let's do some extra work." Anytime I asked him and.
Was he excited to have you and
gosh.
So also like your roommate came
so I had
too,
my
right?
roommate with me.
So he knew you guys.
Yeah.
He knew your character.
And I also had another teammate from Penn State join us as well.
Oh, fantastic! So 3 of you guys.
So we had, a nice little group.
That's cool.
We just, he was so pumped to this guy is obsessed with baseball as much as I am, and
your coach.
Yeah. Probably it's his life.
It's his life. He's doing it as a career.
His job, yeah. And we're working hard every day, and have a really good fall. We worked really hard in fall ball, had some success, and rolling into the spring season, we just did our thing, and I ended up having a really good year, and got some really cool accolades, broke some really nice records, and did a lot of stuff that I was not expecting to do.
This was your spring, your sophomore.
My sophomore season.
Sophomore season, okay, at Dayton, and that's when you made the All-American.
Yeah, so I got an All-American nod, third-team All-American, which was really cool. Something I totally didn't expect. I broke the single-season hits record at Dayton, single-season stolen bases, single-season runs.
So 3 records.
3 single-season records.
Let's go, dude.
Which is really cool. I broke them all in the same weekend too.
Wow.
Which is really funny. And then I was second single-season RBIs, these are all baseball stats, but
sure.
Also was on home runs leaderboard, at pretty much every offensive category that I could have done.
Wow. So you just had like a breakout season.
Yeah.
What does that feel like in the midst of it? Like,
yeah,
is it more like, hey, I'm on a roll, or do you feel like every game there was more pressure to keep it up?
It was. I can't even describe it other than it was just like flow state. You
were locked in, bro.
We talked about flow state, and it's such a corny phrase, but it's so real.
It's real, bro.
It's so real where I didn't know what was going on, and I was just doing it.
You were just locked in.
It was just one of the craziest feelings in my life where I was just so locked in, and I really think, obviously God played a huge role in this and did the whole thing for me, but I just didn't. It was flow. I can't even describe it.
I think for me, when we've talked about this in the past, something that resonates with me is if you're big on not shying away from the prep work that it takes.
No, yeah.
And it's like anything else. It sounds corny or whatever, but it's like if you put in the reps, you should be able to kind of just do it second nature,
Absolutely,
right?
yeah.
And so like when you're not necessarily, I don't know, all there one day or whatever, like that experience and practice is going to show up for you.
Yeah.
Right?
It's crazy what you can do when you prepare to an extent that you didn't even believe was possible. You know what I mean? When you prepare so much, like you'd be surprised at what you can actually do and how good you can get at something. You know what I mean? Like whether it's tattooing for you or baseball for me or anything. You know, someone that's watching that has a passion, you can get so good at something because of your preparation. Like if you're just constantly working at it, constantly preparing to a level that you didn't know you could do, you know, there's a level of prep that goes into anything, but then there's like a different level where it's like you're freaking obsessed with this.
You're relentless.
You're obsessed. Like you're addicted. Like it's like addiction where you can't stop and no one's going to stop you. And whether, you know, it's 5 a.m. in the morning or 10 p.m. at night or, you know, a Monday or a Friday or you have something going on or you don't, you find a way to get your work done. And you don't just go in there and punch the clock, but you go in there and you perfect your craft.
You get after it.
You're perfecting it. You're not just working. It's not like you're, you know, a hamster
going through the
on a
motions.
wheel. Yeah. You're like actually meticulously perfecting your craft every time you go to work. That's when you reach that different level. And I'm not saying I'm this freaking crazy player or way better, but I'm just trying to be the best I can be. You know?
Yeah, and
that's all I can do is be the best I can be.
And you're speaking to how you went from ultimately kind of like getting cut to having a breakout All-American season, 3 records, right? So that's how you do it.
Yeah.
Is hard work beats talent every day.
It
would you
does.
would you agree with that to an extent?
I absolutely
I'm
would.
a big believer in that. That's been the same thing with me as a tattoo artist. When I started my career, I knew that I wanted to get my reps in after I was cut from my apprenticeship. And I worked at 3 street shops, doing every tattoo that came in the door. And that's allowed me to figure out what I enjoy doing more.
Yeah, and you applied, like you were given a God-given gift of art and the ability to be creative, and that's your God-given talent. And then you identified that talent, right? And you put relentless hours towards it, and you just glorify that gift even more.
You know, and I think that's
you put a beautiful frame around the gift that God gave you, the image that He gave you. You just put a beautiful frame around it. You know what I mean? You put it up on the wall. You allowed it to really materialize.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, look, I love talking about this because I'm a hustler, and that's why, you know, we got along great whenever I first met you, because you had that same passion for your craft that I feel like with mine. And it is rare. It's a rare thing. But I gotta say, like, it feels great. I remember there was a time whenever I was just doing these walk-in tattoos, and I didn't have any followers. I didn't know what style I wanted to do, and I was still living in Somerset, PA, right? And I just knew that if I showed up down here in Southside on Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays at noon when the shop opened, and I stayed there until midnight, I could do some tattoos. And so I did that, and I would drive down here an hour and a half. I'd sit in the shop for 12 hours, tattoo, drive home at 1 a.m. Like it was insane. It made no sense. But I also feel like that made me progress much faster than I would have if I would have just kind of rested on my laurels. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no doubt. I try to tell this to my younger brother, and I think there's a lot to be said about someone that gets great at something. There's a lot of people that are great at, or that are really good at a bunch of different stuff. They're super well-rounded people, and that's super impressive. You know what I mean? Someone that could, you know, play the piano and juggle and, you know, whatever it is. They're very dynamic and well-rounded. But there's also something to be said about someone that's great at one thing. You know, like they just blow everyone else out of the water at one thing. Whether it's like sports or tattooing or anything. Like
Anything.
they're just like tremendously good at it. So I try to tell them, I'm like, dude, if you can't be good at a bunch of stuff, get really, really great at one thing. You know what I mean?
Dude, and like we talked about this in the
Build your
past.
brand around that. Yeah, your personal brand,
Uh-huh.
your identity.
And we talked about this in the past. One thing that I think of when you mention that is like Japanese culture. We have an appreciation for Japanese culture. That might be something we tattoo in the future, but it's like in a lot of Japanese culture, you could be a street cleaner and you're gonna be the best fucking street cleaner. You know what I'm saying?
You perfect it.
Yeah, you know what I mean? There's no like shame, and it's like whatever you choose to pursue, you're gonna just go all in.
Yeah.
So awesome. So basically, you had this breakout year at Dayton. What happened next? Like, what was your?
Yeah. So towards the end of the season, there's a lot of different thoughts that come in. The main one being, okay, where do I go from here, right? So Dayton is a smaller school. It's a mid, what they call a mid-major, and it's going to be a little tougher to pursue professional dreams out of a mid-major than it would out of a bigger school, maybe a brand name school.
Okay.
So mainly because of the competition level, right? So my thought is, okay, well, I really want to play professionally, right? So where am I going to be able to pursue that dream the best? And I asked myself is like, okay, where am I going to be the best player? Right? If I want to play professional baseball, I have to be the best player. Where is that going to be? I decided that was with the guy that believed in me, which was my coach, right? So my thought was, all right, if he's at Dayton, I need to be in Dayton. So at the end of the year, I think for a week, and I have a meeting with my coach, and I tell him I'm going to go home, I'm going to think about it, I'm going to see what I'm going to do, whether I'm going to leave the school or not. I talk with my family. I talk with some, so many people came out to help me. I leaned on so many people, and that's something that I don't want to be lost, is that like anything I've done is not because I'm some like guru with all this stuff. I've leaned on so many people that just like, whether it's one conversation or an ongoing one, like even for that moment, if they help me like clear my head or anything, I'm really grateful for that. And I ultimately decided that I was going to just go back to Dayton and continue my career there, and hopefully try to get drafted maybe in a later round or something like that, which is kind of the reality for more mid-major guys. Is, you're not going to sign for as much money, you're not going to get big deals in NIL or anything, but you still have a shot to make it professionally. And I just knew I wanted to be the best player that I could be, and that was with that coach. So I decided to stay, right?
Yeah.
And I'm praying for weeks. I'm like, God, help me make this decision. Help me confirm that this is the right thing. Make me feel good about this. Because I wanted to be confident in the decision I was making. I wanted to feel good about it, because there's still doubt after you make the decision. Was that the right call? Is this the best thing for me?
Sure.
And then, God takes his plan again, and he alters what's going on again, and he says, I'm in a summer ball game again. And
where was this? In Indiana again?
So this is actually in Cape Cod, which is a much nicer league than the one I had played at in the previous summer. So I get sent up to Cape Cod, which is it's like kind of the premier summer baseball league.
Okay.
I go up there. I'm not playing a whole bunch because I signed to the team really late. So I'm kind of, the one day I'm sitting on the bench, kind of, like before a game, we're warming up, and a bunch of guys start talking about, their one coach leaving, Wake Forest, and, I had known who this coach was, and, I'm thinking in my head, what does that mean for my coach? Because, a bunch of stuff is moving around, and so then I leave the game, and we kind of start catching wind that something might be going on with our coach, and then
at Dayton.
Yeah, at Dayton, and then we get the message, a few days later that he's leaving. He announces to the team.
Is that because he had such a good season at Dayton? He was just like in demand.
His best friend, who is the coach of Wake Forest, got the job at Duke.
Oh, okay.
And I knew that this was his best friend, so I kind of had some suspicions. I didn't hear from him though, so I was kind of, had some suspicions. So when we get this announcement, I call them and I tell them, hey, I'm entering the portal due to the coaching change. And then, once I enter the portal, I tell them, I said, hey, make me a good offer.
Yeah.
So,
dude, so I gotta say, like, the one central theme that I see between both you and your coach is just like a lot of like unwavering loyalty.
Loyalty, yeah.
A lot of faith, but also like a lot of unwavering
loyalty. And that's where, again, I got tested again with is, okay, how loyal am I? Like, this guy brought me so much success. He helped me get here. He get me to this point, and then I enter the transfer portal, and my loyalty begins to get tested, right?
Tell me about this. This is exciting. So Michael had he was playing summer ball up in Cape Cod. Were you having like a mediocre season? Like
I was kind of scattered, and I signed to a team late, and there's a lot of like political things that go on in that league. Not political things,
but like politics, yeah.
Yeah, like not like, you know what I mean. Like there's
dynamics.
There's guys that signed to the team earlier than I did, and they're going to have their loyalty to them, and I totally understand, right? So I was also like kind of scattered with the whole thing. So I decided to go home after a few weeks, played a little bit, practiced a little bit, and then just decided to ship it home and get my head right and train and work out.
So you're at home while...
Yeah, so I'm at home while this whole thing's going down, and I entered the portal. I was in the portal for pretty much a day. At least I took calls for around a day. And, I entered the portal around noon, and I was on the phone till midnight of that night.
Wow.
Just calling people.
Calling
nonstop.
Your coach or calling people to ask for their advice?
So I left my phone on. I left it open to the public, and I was getting calls from pretty much every school in the country.
Oh wow. Okay, so this is the exciting conversation. Like
juicy, yeah.
he's in the transfer portal, and everybody wants him.
Yeah, pretty much. And I don't know how to say that in like
no, but it's just a reality, bro. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Now, for people who don't know college baseball, what are like some incredible schools?
So you got schools
like what's like the
Yeah, you have schools like LSU that just won 2 of the past 3 national championships. I received an offer from them. Arkansas.
Isn't that where Skeens went?
Yeah, Paul Skeens.
Paul Skeens?
Yeah, all those guys, Pittsburgh people love Paul Skeens.
Sure.
You got Arkansas, who's another premier program. They were 3rd in the country last year.
Okay.
Received an offer from them, and then Oregon State, who was in the World Series. So, out of like the top 10 schools in the country, I got offered from like 7 of them.
Whoa, that's crazy,
out of the
dude.
top 10. And then there were others. And
sure.
Stuff like that.
Wow. Okay, so you have this decision. Like, do I go to the Mecca?
Yeah. Do I
in maybe LSU
or like schools like that where you're a baseball player there, like they revere you.
Yeah.
Like you are, I don't know how to say this any other way.
You're a rock star,
you're
bro.
A freaking legend. Like,
yeah, dude,
literally.
for sure.
These guys have they get tons of money, tons of followers. I mean, crazy level of status at that school.
And there's to be said, also for those who don't know, in recent years with NIL, college athletes, it's not just a scholarship anymore.
No,
there's a lot of money involved, and so
figures,
sure.
So I was getting thrown some serious figures and some numbers that they just kind of
blew your mind.
World. Yeah, they blow your mind. And I'm 21 right now, but I was 20 at the time, and a 20-year-old, there's money. You look at money a little differently than you do when you're an adult, and so I have a choice to make. Do I take maybe a way bigger paycheck and a lot more status and go, and even maybe a better shot at a national title or something like that, or do I stay loyal?
Stay loyal.
And it's a crazy decision. I thought of that for for the whole day pretty much. And
yeah, because this happened on a really fast timeline,
right?
It
was pretty much 48 hours when the whole thing went down.
And is that because you had to make a commitment right away, or how? Why?
No, but I'm a guy where if I sit on that for too long,
it's gonna eat you alive.
It's gonna eat me alive, and I know what they say is like when you're between 2 choices, flip a coin, and what do you hope it lands on? You know what I mean? So.
Yep.
If I had let that sit, I don't know if I would have had the clearest head to make the decision. So, my head's clear, so I'm in the fire. You know what I mean? When I'm in it, and I'm.
So you're like, I'm gonna figure this out right away, and I'm gonna stick to whatever I do.
And I'm gonna be a man about it. I'm gonna freaking make a decision. I'm gonna fucking live by it. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna be a man about it. And so I talk again, talking with people I love and care about, and I'm like, all right, what are you about, Michael? Like, what are you about? Are you about like who are you? And I go, and I'm leaning back. It's like, am I really loyal if I can be bought? You know what I mean? Is loyalty? Does loyalty? Is it does it continue on if you can be bought? Am I a loyal guy if someone could pay for my loyalty? I don't think so, right?
Yeah.
So I also ultimately realized that like I can't be bought. You know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna put a price on myself.
Let me just say, this is crazy revelations.
Yeah,
especially for anybody.
Yeah.
But as a 20-year-old,
yeah, it's ridiculous.
That's pretty nuts.
It's like you get
it's got to feel otherworldly.
You get to go through very transformative experiences at a young age.
Yep.
And they really do mold you, and they guide your decision making, and they help you build a track record of who you are as a human, and it allows you to stick to that in future circumstances, right?
Yep.
So I ultimately decided, it's like, all right, I'm a loyal MFer.
Yeah.
And not only that, but this is where I'm going to be the happiest, regardless of money or status. This is where I'm going to enjoy my life the most.
Yep.
And it's being around people I freaking love.
Yeah,
you
man.
know, I love, not just I like or I care about, like
Yep.
I love these guys.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to go to Duke, and so did my roommate who was at Dayton. And
Wow, so you
some
guys...
other teammates went with us. So yeah, it was like, I love these guys.
We're gonna make it happen, bro.
I love them more than the money that I lost.
Yep. And was there any reservation at that point? Like, once you committed, you were like, you know what? Let's rock and roll, baby.
Dude, I called them. It was like freaking, I mean, it might have been past midnight, you know. I don't even know what time it was. And I call them, and I'm like, hey, man. And they were freaking out. I don't know if they knew what was going on. I told them all the stuff I had been offered. I was transparent with them. I'm like, hey, I got to think about it. I can't give you a yes right now. And keep in mind, this is literally happening within hours, right?
Yeah.
It's not like I'm taking days. I'm taking a few hours to think about it and facilitating.
You're like, yeah, let me call you back in 15 minutes,
yeah,
man.
I'm facilitating stuff quickly. Like some schools are like, hey, we don't have anything for you right now. I'm like, okay, sorry, you're off the table, and I gotta happen. And they're like, wait, no, we can make it happen.
We can make it happen.
Yeah, we'll get it done.
So you're wheeling and dealing,
yeah, I'm
man.
just
This
like, we
is
gotta
crazy.
get this thing going. I need to know, like, you gotta get back to me within an hour, or it's not gonna happen. You know what I mean?
Damn, bro.
So like,
Was
really,
that cool to like kind of call the shots like that?
It was. It was the first time in my life where I felt like I had some control.
But you weren't. It wasn't in like a cocky way. It was just
No.
like, hey, man, this is just real talk. This is business.
Yeah.
We gotta be men about it. And,
I'm professional like with it. I'm not gonna. I was
Not rude,
honest,
just-
and, nope. And I'm
yeah.
not lying. If it, you know, I wasn't talking to anyone I wasn't interested in. Right.
Yep.
Wasn't wasting time.
You're not sugarcoating.
Nope.
things.
And I wasn't gonna waste anyone's time. And you know, schools wanted to take me on visits and fly me out and do these cool visits. You know, take pictures.
Yeah,
do
you're
all
like,
this cool
nah, I don't
shit,
care about any of that,
Eat
bro.
nice meals, fly on a private jet. I was no, I'm not doing it. Don't you can't. You're
You
not
can't
gonna be able to
buy me
wow
like that,
with this
bro. Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
I don't want to be treated like that. I'm not a guy. I don't fly on a private jet. I fly freaking commercial in Southwest.
Yep.
Sit in the back of the plane. I'm boarding Group 8. I'm not first class. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, dude, I love
it's
it,
not
bro.
me. It's just not who I am. It's not me.
I love it.
So, yeah, I call them and I'm like, hey, man, you know, you guys want to help me? You know, you guys want to help me get drafted? You guys want to make us really good? You want to make me really good?
This is your coach.
Yeah, and he's like, you know we are. And I go, all right, then I'm coming. And they're freaking out on the phone. Like, they're in the car, and they almost crashed the car, they were saying. They're freaking out. And after I heard that reaction and I felt the love, and I'm like, dude, I'm so happy I made this decision. And then keep in mind, I'm still taken care of in great ways, financially, academically.
Of course. You made sure it was a good
socially.
deal, of course.
It's phenomenal situation.
And it's a great school. Duke,
yeah.
prestigious academics. You told me when we came in here and we were chatting beforehand, it's like, you don't get any slack because you're an athlete. Like, you still have to be a Duke student first, right?
And this is what makes you better, though. Like, if they cut slack on us, I would not have learned what I learned in the classroom this fall. Like, they didn't take it easy on us, right? We have a few more resources that make it a little easier to get advice with, but we take the same test, we have the same homework, we don't have any extra, like, no one's doing my homework for me.
And you know if you went to some other schools, that's not the case, bro.
Doing my homework for me.
Yeah.
Right? They're like,
right.
So I'm like,
but that's not your style, man.
no,
You don't like, you like earning it,
I'm
bro.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it. And yeah, it's been amazing. It's been absolutely amazing, and I was so blessed with that opportunity.
Dude,
it was something in high school or at a younger age I only could have dreamed of, and to be able to do it is, it's awesome.
Wow, dude, and what a wild ride. So, I mean, first of all, thanks for giving us the synopsis, because it's a crazy story.
That cares, yeah.
You know what? No, seriously, like it is
There's
a story.
a lot to be learned from it. Yeah.
No, yeah, it's a story of relentless pursuit, really.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You had a goal in mind, and you had a lot of setbacks, man, and you were just like, no, we're gonna keep it rolling. So let's talk a little bit about, round this out. What we're sitting here, it's before Christmas. What's some goals for 2026?
Yep.
Both obviously on the field, you want to have a great season, a breakout season, but how are you keeping yourself disciplined through this time period? And, what are some things you want to focus on both on and off the field next year?
Yeah, so 2025 was the best year of my life, no doubt. But it was also the year I made the most growth in a variety of ways. Not just professionally or in my pursuits, on the field, but spiritually, academically, really just a lot of growth. And I really hope to have a similar year in 2026.
Yep.
Some things that, I guess, to answer that first part of your question is what's kind of keeping me disciplined, what am I kind of working on outside of baseball is obviously my faith, like we've talked about. I've gotten, this fall has been really good for my faith. Duke has, a good little Catholic ministry down there.
That's awesome.
We have made a really good relationship with a minister that's, we set up team Bible studies with them. So that's been amazing. I started going to Eucharistic adoration this fall, and that was completely life-changing. Anyone that is interested or doesn't even know what that is, go Google it. And
so what is that, like, very meditative experience for you?
Super meditative, and it's like, it was on a Wednesday night at 8 p.m., so that's in the middle of the week. I'm dead tired, grinding after, coming from the field, shower up real quick, grab a quick dinner, and head to adoration, and it slows your whole week down. I'm sure you've been to adoration. It just slows you down and it regrounds you. And I don't take a second of that adoration thinking about baseball. I just recenter myself on God. I thank Him. I read, whether it's reading the Bible, reading a book. Started reading Confessions by St. Augustine.
Nice.
That was something I've been working through.
I was gonna ask you, like, for anybody interested in any type of, I know your dad's a big reader as well. Any literature or content that has kind of like helped you stay locked in spiritually,
Yeah, so I'm like many people out here, I guess if you're watching a podcast, probably not the biggest reader. I am the same way, right? I don't like to read. But there are some things that I've read, obviously, that have helped. The one, like I mentioned, was Confessions by St. Augustine. St. Augustine, if you don't know his story, is really interesting, but it's a very impactful book. It's very real and raw, and I haven't even made the whole way through. I'm about halfway through right now.
Okay.
It's a super raw read, and it's really given me a lot of comfort in knowing that, like, someone like St. Augustine, who lived a very devout life in the later half of his life, he had a lot of things that, he struggled with and he battled with, and that's kind of the beauty of being, having the faith, is that you don't have to be perfect, and God's not trying to just fix you, right? He loves you when you go through that stuff, and so that was really comforting me, especially when you have times where you fall into lulls, or you might not be as focused on your faith. You might get caught up in some other you know, thing that's
Whatever it
going
is.
on in your life.
Worldly stuff,
Yeah,
man.
worldly things. It happens to everyone, and that's like, you know, it's comforting to know that someone like him had similar battles to me. So,
Absolutely.
and then, you know, there's some other good stuff on YouTube. I like to watch stuff. So,
Yep.
Father Spyridon, who's actually an Orthodox father. He has some phenomenal content out there. A bunch of video series where he talks about different, you know, battles or different things that you might wonder about. So he's phenomenal. I'm Catholic and he's Orthodox, and I love all of his stuff.
Yeah.
So,
That's
and then
super
also
cool.
a guy named Father Moses on YouTube, he's great too. So those are kind of some people I've kind of, you know, gotten their information, kind of digested it in a way that, you know, has really been applicable to my life.
Absolutely, bro. Dude, well, man, I have got to say, I'm excited. We're gonna get ready to take a break here. We got this whole thing framed out. This is we're doing a scene of St. George riding into battle. Okay, very appropriate for my boy Michael here. But yeah, dude, thank you so much for sharing a little bit about your story.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is definitely just a part one, man.
Yeah,
Like
we're
gonna keep it up, you know. But for everybody out there, Merry Christmas. Be safe.